right, up here in the top left corner of Antiga Shipyard, it's going to be Liquid's next hope to try and take out SlayerS.Dark. It is Liquid.Zenio as the purple Zerg. And down in the bottom right, it's the guy who took out Hero, took out Teja in some incredibly long games, but still ended up with the victory. It is going to be SlayerS.Dark as the green Zerg down in the bottom right.
Okay, well, here we are, and it's, like we said, Dark has shown his success in ZVP, he's shown it in ZVT, and he's played a combined 75 minutes over just 2 games so far, so we'll see if he's worn out or if he's ready to go in ZVZ now against Liquid.Zenio.
All right, neither player doing anything super fast, no super duper aggression, no 6, 7, or 8 pools, or even 9 pools for that matter. So they're just going to save up and build pools and hatcheries, probably around 15. Actually, Dark is going to be doing the extractor trick. Zenio opted not to, but Dark still hasn't built anything. Obviously, they're both saving up till around 15, possibly 14 to get that pool or hatchery down.
Okay, so let's go ahead and see here as... you know, I mean, ZVZ has been evolving towards later tech and a little bit more stable play recently. Has been very, very fun. A lot of players are going after Hatch first into Mutas right afterwards, which is a brand of play that I'm especially fond of. I like the Muta micro battles, especially the people who, you know, play very defensively. They prioritize armor upgrades and float over the queens while they're attacking. Looks like we are actually going to have a pool first out of Dark, though, so that's coming against the little bit more normal Hatch first that we've been seeing out of Zerg players from Zenio.
All right, yeah, Dark with that pool first makes me wonder if he's going to try to be actually a bit more aggressive or if he's just, you know, trying to play it safe because he doesn't know what Zenio is going to be doing. He will get his own hatch up at 15 anyway as he moves over to his own natural. So Zenio still no pool started. There it is. So actually, they're building the exact same buildings, just in opposite order. Nothing really too surprising still. Looks like Dark is actually going to opt for an earlier Overlord, though, so maybe he is planning to use his first wave of larva to actually make some lings and try to get aggressive.
Could be. So let's see here now. I mean, obviously, when you go hatch first, you're probably going to put down a defensive baneling nest. We have seen some players, though, lately that have decided to bypass that. I still don't think it's safe in a lot of circumstances, but oh, I forgot who it was the other day. It was a complete build order win, though, because their opponent was going for a quick 3-base, had the defensive baneling nest, but didn't put on any pressure because they were going quick 3-base, and Roaches just obliterated it.
Don't remember that game.
Yeah.
I remember there was I believe it was a Contender Division match where neither player built a baneling nest. I think Vortex was playing against
that was it.
Aristio.
And Vortex went Roaches, and
neither of them even had baneling nests.
His opponent decided to go, for quick 3-base, and then just got overrun. Complete build.
It was Aristio,
win, so.
I believe.
Yeah.
For Empire. Yeah. So Vortex just walked all over. I think it was Atlantis Spaceship or Metropolis, one of those longer walking distances, but Vortex still pulled it off. Vortex actually 8-0 against Empire in the last 2 times that they've met. Yeah. So
actually, the Caronte team actually sent me when I was in Spain. They you know, we took a couple pictures with the team and stuff like that. They sent them over to me, and I'm so happy now. So thank you, Caronte guys, and we'll frame them and cherish them forever.
Terrific.
Yay! Anyway, obviously your players aren't too different at this stage of the game. Pretty even workers. Zenio eking out a couple worker advantage, and he did decide to go for the little bit earlier baneling nest defensively because he went for hatch first, and so. Not real surprised to see that. I mean, he knew his opponent decided to go for pool first, but neither of these guys have shown any inkling of aggression.
Nope, they're just going to sit back, relax, take it easy. Dark has a kind of a penchant for hanging back anyway, so it doesn't really surprise me. I guess if he doesn't even have to defend all the time, he's going to be able to get into his build more comfortably anyway. So baneling nest coming up for both players. Zergling speed going to finish around the same time for both players as well. Zenio is making a wave of 10 lings right now, though, and a couple of banelings already, so I'm not sure where those are at or why he feels the need to go ahead and make
just
those, I guess, defensive,
yeah.
But really hasn't seen anything out of Dark that would be too scary. I think just these 2 lings now walking their way across.
This is about the time, though, where if someone wanted to make a big speedling push or something like that, it would happen. Of course, the Zerglings just run right on by.
Yeah, why not?
And Zenio was running out to the front, and he is actually going to take these out, and Dark is going to see nothing out of the ordinary. What he is going to have to worry about are these speedlings that are making their way out, and he himself is making some defensive banelings now to go ahead and defend against those.
Can we check back at Zenio's natural? Okay, he did not spend that baneling, or maybe he did. Oh, he spent the baneling just to kill that one Scouting Ling, it looks like. I saw they were about like running into each other, but man, that's kind of a big loss if Zenio used the mainly just for that half-dead Scouting Ling. Either way, Zenio is actually going to be the first aggressor here. We've got a Spinecrawler already in position though for Dark, so it really shouldn't be too big of a deal. Only one Baneling there to defend though, so if it gets spent on 1 or 2 Lings, that could be pretty bad for him. Zenio is just going to back off for now though.
Both these guys are going after layers. Both of them are going after Roach Horns as well. Now, normally what you'll see if players are going mutas is that they'll wait on the Roach Horn, they'll go Aspire first, dump into about 6 or 7 mutas with +1 armor or +1 attack, depending on what they're prioritizing, and decide to do damage from there on out, and then transition into Roaches, because it's the Roaches that really end up doing the damage. You use those to clear up Overlords and pick off workers. But in this case, it looks like we're going to see just straight up Roach Infester. So this is going to be equal... not equal builds, but equivalent builds, and it's really going to be who can prepare the best and who can get ready with their own Roaches and Infestors.
Well, who can? Who can prepare the best?
I don't know.
Who can do the best with their Roaches and Infestors? Do we
Nesty?
know? Do we know? Nesty just fell out of Code
Yeah,
A.
he is, actually. But that's always the go-to answer, is it not? Nesty.
No, not anymore. He's out of Code A.
Yeah,
Can't do nothing the best.
I know.
Only the best
sad.
can be the best.
And MC actually lost his Code A match as well, so he is still in up and downs. He's still in up and downs, but he's not out of GSL.
And he is still the best player in the world, so he'll probably just go to up and downs and get right up and win Code S again, I think. That's probably what'll happen.
Probably.
Yeah.
Third base coming up for both players. Of course, Zenio knows about the existence of his opponents, and so does Dark. He knows what's right here. Unfortunately, this Overlord is probably going to get picked off. The Queen's pretty slow, but it will be able to deal enough damage eventually to take it out. Pathogen glands are already started for Dark. No infestation pit whatsoever for Zenio at the moment, so he's just making a huge number of roaches. For the time being.
Well, if that's any indication of an answer for who's going to be better with their Roaches and Infestors, I would guess Dark, because he was the only one with an infestation pit. But finally, Zenio is trying to catch up there as well. Roach speed is going to finish for both players at the same time as that +1 range. So actually, this build is just super duper close on both sides, and you can see even in the supply they're basically neck and neck. Zenio is going to be the first one attacking in again, though, at least holding on to the Zelnok Tower. Yeah, he is actually going to continue on before the Infestors are actually out, so this could actually get some damage done. Dark may want to go back to his usual strategy of trying to defend as long as he can so that the Infestors can come out.
And Dark's going to finish +1 weapons now. Okay, so he is going to be on equal footing here, and of course he has that all-important Infestor popping up, but I'm not sure from where. It looks like it's not from around third.
Or main.
If it had been from around the third, that would have actually been cool for him, because he could have just ducked out and snagged a fungal growth and maybe tried to engage. Zenio is going to have to back off at the moment. He's just started investing into his own pathogen glands, but his opponent is only 1 Infestor ahead, so it's not like having those super quick Infestors is going to net him all that much.
That's true. It looks like, yeah, they're going to be pretty even. Actually, if Dark does move across the map now and gets there before pathogen glands finish, he could actually have a narrow window to get some damage, but because he only did build that 1 Infestor, doesn't really have the gas to keep cranking them out at the moment. Even that tiny advantage is really not worth a whole lot at the moment, especially when he's having to come back and deal with little Zerglings.
Yeah, and by the time these Infestors pop out and run across the map, Zenio will actually be on equal numbers of Infestors. So both players, once again, they're pretty much even in a lot of regards. Zenio a little bit more economical at the moment. His upgrades are hitting a little bit faster than his opponents, but he doesn't have a macro hatch at the moment. And there we go. There's a big difference so far. Hydralisk Den is on the way for additional DPS in the army of Zenio.
Okay, so Zenio still, you know, building Infestors, investing in Infestors, infesting, I guess. But he is actually just adding more all the time, trying to get that count to be superior. But with the Hydralisks in the back, once these encounters do happen, obviously they'll be able to provide a lot more DPS, like you said. They'll have the additional range, so they can basically just line up behind the Roaches, behind the Infestors, and just play, you know, shoot away at the fungled, perhaps, Roaches that will be at the front lines for Dark.
Okay, well, when this next set of Infestors pops up for both players, they'll be exactly the same. But, you know, as you mentioned, there is the important difference right there. Hydralisk now actually starting to come up for Dark, so both these guys have been very passive thus far, and it looks like we have a case of just kind of sitting back and waiting the entire game. Almost a 15-minute no rush here.
Yeah, and it could still be 15 minutes. It looks like Zenio did actually poke in just for a second and got, you know, warded off by Dark's roach numbers and that spine crawler. Now, though, it looks like Zenio might have an advantage. He's going to have a lot of Hydralisks out there. They do crumble pretty fast to fungal growth. They have a lot less HP than these roaches, so it is going to be interesting to see how the positioning makes a big difference in the first big encounter that these two players have.
The Hydralisks are a bit at the front, maybe to snag a couple of hits before the units make their way up, but of course that exposes them, and you mentioned already that their hit points are so low, so they're much more fragile than the roaches are. Taking a look at things, though, we have hatcheries coming up for both players inside of the middle of the map. Zenio has still not put down a macro hatch there. As soon as I say it, he does finally nab one, but they're both maxed, they're both banking resources, they're both moving up to 4th bases, they're both on almost equal workers, they both have Hydralisks and infestors and roaches, and oh, that was such a nice grab from Dark to begin with. He baits one of the Hydralisks down and does damage to the rest of the infestors.
Interesting there. When you had the units tab up, I actually noticed the larva count was way higher for Dark. Obviously, they're just going to be injecting constantly now because they are both maxed. So I do expect to see a large encounter. There are Hydras in the mix for Dark. I'm not sure if they got the range upgrade. I kind of missed that production window to see if Dark's Hydras got it.
Oh, Dark's Hydras, my apologies.
He had a couple out. Okay, so they are basically on even footing there. Zenio just has many more Hydras in his composition than Dark does. Hive coming up now for Zenio, so he's looking to switch gears after this next big engagement.
At the very least, he can, and he can start investing into 3-3 upgrades. Even if he only uses it for 3-3 upgrades and such, he's still going to have a bit of an advantage there, and we can see how much quicker it's coming up for him at the moment. And he still actually has more banked resources. He's not maxed, though, and I wonder what he's actually producing. Okay, some of his supply went to producing additional extractors and such. Oh, and he is actually going to start to engage this. There's so many more roaches here in position for Dark, but the fungals have been on point from Zenio so far. He's attacking actually into his opponent's base at the same time.
Yeah, that's actually a huge difference. It looks like Dark may actually overwhelm the top side. He was using his energy primarily for those infested marines rather than fungals. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to save the space, but it looks like they will trade. In fact, yeah, both hatcheries actually going down. The infestors walking in, some of them without any energy. Big fungal on the roaches. They burrow just for a moment and then actually unburrow, so a little bit of a misclick there. Roaches, oh, with not much HP left, actually burrowing. There is an overseer. Actually, that's Dark's overseer, so I'm not sure. Oh, there's an overseer there for Zenio as well. So, man, all those roaches are going to get surrounded and killed. Zenio with a 20 supply lead after the engagement is over, and still has quite a lot of units standing.
He cleaned up pretty well there, and can't understate the effect of the +1 Carapace advantage that he had during a good portion of that fight as well. Dark now finally going to finish up +1 Carapace himself, but Zenio's been a bit quicker to reestablish his 4th base in the middle of the map. There is a 4th base coming up for Dark, but of course it's a bit more exposed over at the side. He's putting up this hatchery at the same time, and we are once again remaxed. Now, what do we remax with? Many more infestors for Zenio. I'm sorry, for Dark, but Zenio is producing enough to be on equal footing here in just a second. He re-denies the base in the middle of the map. He is slightly ahead in roaches. They're dead even on Hydralisks, and they're pretty even on workers.
You can see he's clearing out these changelings that keep getting spawned from somewhere. They just run right into the middle, and Zenio targets them down. But here we go. Actually, a roach hit squad trying to move past. Not going to work out for Dark at all.
That's really bad.
If he was using that to clean out Cap, maybe that was okay, but I'm not really sure if he was. He's adding a ton of Hydralisks now to try and fill those spots, though.
And an infestor actually does get picked off there. A couple of them. Wow, that was a good catch from Dark. He actually had lost a lot before, but picking off 3 infestors without them landing any fungal growth is really, really nice for him.
Oh, that was a big fungal right on some of those Hydralisks and roaches. Lots of infested marines coming out now, though, for Dark to ward this big amount of roaches back. And actually, Dark could continue to chase here, but decides to back off a little bit, let the infested marines get some more damage in before actually committing his roaches and Hydralisks. Lots of changelings running around now. Those are always super confusing in ZDZ, so thank you very much for that, especially when one of the one of the Zerg players is actually purple, so the changelings are barely discernible from reallings anyway, but looks like Dark should be able to defend. Maybe 2 or 3 drones getting taken out here by these 4 roaches.
Not a lot of workers have been killed the entire game. Green over there, but of course it is just changelings. Resources lost. Looks like Zenio's lost a little bit more, and you can see that it reflected kind of in the overall supply, but he needs to start working off of more gas at the moment. He's got gas 7 and 8, but he probably needs to get 9 and 10 working pretty soon because he has a large bank of available minerals, but not much to go around in terms of gas.
Right, so Zenio has spotted that hatch on the far right side. He is actually going to go respond to that now, but Dark is approaching with the bulk of his army. Again, using a lot of energy on those infested marines. I'm, kind of questioning it, but he does have those +2 upgrades on range, and every time he's done it, he has actually warded Zenio back farther rather than using those fungals like we see Zenio using on the infested Terrans. They're actually kind of not the best target to use them on because they do live through a fungal, but that's all right. These Hydras trying to get some more damage in. I'm not sure who's infested. Those are actually Darks, so he could actually manage to sneak those away. Fungal landing on one of them while it's burrowed, though. That's unfortunate.
All the roach cover had gone away, though, and Zenio was able to actually move in and clean up all the rest of the Hydralisks, and instead of running away because of how slow they are, Dark had to stand in there and fight it out, and that's actually a very big loss for him, as Zenio has kind of regained the overall advantage, and he picks off the space at the top right. I'm sorry I missed this little roach hit squad, but he's done pretty good damage to his opponent's bases. What's the upgrades? 3-1, 2-2, pretty equivalent for both our players now, so not too big of a difference one way or another. Zenio's reinforcing a little bit quicker, though, when Dark's starting to get driven back.
Yep, Zenio does have the better concave there. The higher roach count is going to help him out. Obviously, the infestors really don't have enough energy for fungals anymore. They're still just spending on those infested marines, but that's not really working out anymore as the roach count gets super duper high now for Zenio. As long as he can keep that concave, his +3 weapons are doing a lot of damage, and Dark just really can't reinforce fast enough. That's a GG.
Wow, okay, so Liquid's on the board now. They're still behind. It's 2-1, but that is exactly what they needed, and Liquid at least not going to see any sort of an all-kill from Dark.
Nope. Dark had actually 2 very, very good games against Hero and Tasia, but Zenio was able to come in and even it up. Well, actually not even it up, but at least take out Dark with some equivalent Zerg play, at least. He was able to, match up with Dark pretty evenly all the way across that game. The supply counts were just ridiculously close. Worker counts were very close. Roach counts as well. Upgrades kind of made a little bit of a difference, and I guess the energy spending was kind of a difference, although it didn't really seem to make too much of a difference. I really feel like Fungal is the more powerful of the 2 infestor spells when you're bashing heads like that. But yeah.
Okay, well, that is it for game number 3, and it looks like our next player for Slayers, their second player of the set, is going to be Brown, Protoss player. So he is going to choose Cloud Kingdom as his map. We are going to run to a commercial break, and when we get back, it's going to be PvZ time between Slayers Brown and Liquid.Zenio.